Washington. Thank you. Joining us now, the president of Live Action, Lila Rose, Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall. Lila, let's go through the list of laws that are broken here. It's illegal to alter the abortion procedure to save specific body parts, is it not?
Sure, there's three. That's a federal law that you can't alter the abortion procedure in order to harvest body parts. The abortionist actually can't even know that body parts might be donated afterwards. Secondly, illegal partial birth abortions. And Dr. Amna Dermish in these tapes from this morning is explaining how she delivers the baby breech and then destroys maybe the baby by ripping the legs off or extracting the brain. That's a hallmark position of the illegal late-term abortion, partial birth abortion procedure. And then finally, of course, selling body parts violates federal law. So extremely disturbing, heartbreaking, and illegal.
You know, Leslie, these tapes are just incontrovertible. The evidence is overwhelming. The lack of sensitivity stands out on its own. They're drinking wine and eating their salads and talking about buying Lamborghinis as they sell body parts for money. So I would assume that you are pretty disgusted by that. But let's talk about the legality of it. Multiple crimes on tape that they're admitting to breaking, including selling body parts, negotiating the price of body parts, altering abortion procedures, which is illegal, partial birth abortion, late-term abortions, which also is illegal. A lot of crimes we're talking about here. You know, how do you defend this group? Why should they get 1 penny of taxpayer dollars?
Well, first of all, when we look at what has been or hasn't been done, I don't think that these videos are fair to look to, not only because of the edits, but two, because we do have an investigation
but they're
right
released,
now ongoing with Planned
but they're released
Parenthood.
in their entirety. I've gone, the ones that have been released, I've seen them.
Can't go just
so
on the tape, Sean.
Nothing on those tapes are taken out of context. Nothing is taken out of context.
Independent forensic groups have validated the full footage and authenticated it, saying that nothing was taken out of context, nothing was unfairly edited out or spliced. It speaks for itself, and it's so horrific, and that's why you can't argue it away. You can't defend it. It's indefensible.
Well, if it's indefensible, then where are the cuffs? How come there have been no cuffs on anybody from this doctor all the way up to Planned Parenthood?
And there's investigations that are ongoing.
But exactly. And one of the problems that I have with this is uncomfortable. Absolutely. Are there many of us like me that defend choice but never would make that choice for ourselves?
Leslie, would you use the word gruesome and grotesque?
The procedure?
And heartless?
Absolutely.
No, not just that. The discussion about selling baby body parts. I'm not going to go as far to judge somebody else's decision.
I'm not going to go as far as to judge somebody else's decision. It would not be my decision.
I think that's a cop-out, Leslie. It's a cop-out.
With regard to the legality, Lila.
But we should be judging it, and we should be judging what looks like apparent illegal activity on tape. And people across the country are expressing their outrage on both sides of the political spectrum. So that's why it's a shame that our Department of Justice right now is not doing a thorough investigation like many states are in order to ultimately lead into prosecution and convict where the crimes are taking place, convict these top-level Planned Parenthood abortionists of selling body parts, of committing illegal late-term abortions. I mean, crime after crime that's now public, and the public can see it's a crime.
First of all, I'd like to get a word in edgewise, and I'm going to right now. One, we don't have any evidence that they have been breaking the law with regard to body parts because there were fees for service which Planned Parenthood is no longer taking. Two, we do not know if IDE was involved, which is involved in partial birth abortion, which is not a medical term, but which is a political term. And then three, we do not know if a chemical other than the general chemical used was administered by this physician. So we do not know, in fact, that she has violated the law with respect to partial birth abortion.
Hang on.
Then how come nobody is? Where's the patrol running in on their horses and arresting these people?
You know, I understand the difference that some people describe themselves as pro-choice. This is indefensible. The tapes speak for themselves. Let me move on, though, because Ben Carson took a position on abortion, and look how the ladies of The View treated him.
Despicable.
Well, what can you say to that? You know, it's you know, sir, no disrespect. Truly no disrespect, but it's not your call. You don't decide. I'm sorry. You don't decide. You don't decide for anybody's family here what they are going through and what they need.
Well, you know what he said. He said
go
about
ahead, girl.
slavery.
What did he say?
Also said he said during slavery, a lot of slave owners had the right to do whatever they wanted to their slaves. So what if the abolitionists didn't speak up and say, no, this is not wrong. No, just go ahead and do whatever you want to, which doesn't make any sense. And he said that into regards to abortion.
Well, he's identifying with the abolitionists to protect the fetus.
But he's doing the exact same thing that the slave owners did, saying and making
from
choices.
that point,
You know, Leslie, can't you be pro-life? I take the position that is rape, incest, a mother's life. I want people, if they're going to make decisions, to be responsible. But is this the language that the left is going to use because somebody believes that life begins at conception? Really? Don't you find that nauseating?
Well, first of all, if you're going to run for president, you're going to have people on either side agree
Isn't
to
that
disagree,
language
be very
over the
harsh
top?
with you.
It's over
No,
the top.
I don't think it's over the top. This is a man. This is a man who doesn't agree with you regarding to rape and incest, Sean.
So what?
How do we tell a child that's been raped by their stepfather?
Because he believes
and
life
by
begins
him
at
that
why
she
should a
can't make that
child
choice,
who's
even though it's legal
All right,
now?
Lila
Leslie,
gets the last word.
Why should
We're
a
running out of
child who's
time.
conceived
Lila.
in rape be given the death penalty for the crimes of his or her father? I think we can do better for women who are victims of sexual abuse and trauma to say that abortion is somehow a pathway to healing. Abortion's not a pathway to healing. It's another violent act. And that's why we need to be holding Planned Parenthood accountable for these violent acts and the selling of baby body parts. And the ladies of The View, by the way, do not speak for American women.
All right, guys,
American
thank you
women are
both.
largely against many kinds of abortion, and that's where we stand.